There we go. We are back. And per much begging, we do need to do some leveling. And I have been begged to play with the worst character in the game. So, while I'm leveling, I figure, sure, why not? We can do that while we level. So, we're going to take and replace Albert with Shana. I don't know why I'm doing this, but we're doing it. We're going to check additions. Burning Rush is almost done. More and More is about half done. Alright. He's got Dragoon level 3, Dragoon level 3, she's got Dragoon level 1, okay. Okay, let's make sure we're healed. Oops. Make sure we're healed. Hey, Leafer. No one begged. Yeah, definitely shots fired. You've been begging me to do a Shana run for a while. What? I know. I need to get the new code. We need a code. But we need to level up, and I figure, why not? You know, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? She dies a lot. And I can't revive her. I don't know, does resting revive? There's a good question. I don't know, if somebody dies and you go to the resting room, do they revive? It's actually a really good question, and I don't have an answer for it. I missed. Garbage. Wow, it's hit hard. Okay, so she needs just guard. Use Dragoon. Oh, good. That means I can suffer through Shana longer. How's it going, George? We are going through immense suffering and pain. Because Shana must die, apparently. And what I'm probably going to end up doing is probably just having her guard until she gets a few levels. Because she really can't take a hit. So guarding's like her best option. You are in no pain? Okay, if you say so. I just wish I could get Dart out of the party. I swear. That would be so much more helpful. Missed. But, you know. It's what we're stuck with. Alright. So we need a topic to talk about to take my mind off the fact that I'm leveling for basically 2 hours tonight. Yeah. I I was thinking, earlier this week, I was listening to an excerpt from somebody else's channel, and he was trying to justify why MMOs just are not very good. And everything he said just sounded so shallow and naive. It was so weird. I don't understand why people try and justify weird things. What was he trying to say? He was trying to say that MMOs have lost something, which they have. I'll be honest about that. And his take was that MMOs needed to focus on the story and character progression and mechanics, you know, those types of topics. And then tack on the MMO bits later. And that is such a naive point of view. Because that's not where MMOs are lacking. At least not in my experience anyway. I mean, you figure we started with one type of MMO. Well, okay, let's go through something on that real quick. First, you have to define your MMO. See, you have basically three types of MMOs. You have, we'll get the first one out of the way. The first-person shooter, dungeon, FPS, MOBA type MMO. So that's your Call of Duties, Dota, Deep Earth Mining Company, those types of games. That's one category. This is the category of MMO that you play with your friends as co-op or PvP and or co-op PvP inside that environment. So that's the first category. We're not talking about that one. That genre is very well established. The only problem with that one has is the whole microtransaction wall. I'm not getting into that topic in this subject. But that's the catch there. No problem. The second category is the story-driven, total vanishing, cool. The story-driven single-player campaign MMO. No, I don't need it. The single-player campaign MMO that has multiplayer elements and the end game is team-driven or multiplayer-driven. Okay, so you have, I was about to get to that, and it's not just MMOs, it's all games. You have games that are not online MMOs that still have cash grabs. So you look at like Genshin Impact is a single player game, has cash grab. Don't get it, but it does. Forza Horizon and Grand Theft Auto 7, again, both of them are completely playable single player, but they require you to be connected online for matchmaking that for whatever reason, for the matchmaking, even though you play most of the game single player. It's really weird. But it's, again, so they can do cash grabs. That is one big problem that we have in MMOs. I agree with that. But that's not what causes them to lose. MMOs have lost the capacity to engage players for prolonged periods of time. And in the past, there was two ways to do that. One, through a campaign. We have that. Wow, Final Fantasy XIV. They're a good, solid example of games that have very strong campaigns. Players love the heck out of them. And in those campaigns, they're great. They're not so good at the end game. You get to the raid bosses and the leveling and the content, not so much. But still, it's one of those things. However, when you look at what they've lost, the characters, the players, used to have a reason to be social. If you go back and look at MMOs from the beginning, which is about 94-ish. She's almost dead. I really need to heal her. Through to about 2008, maybe 2010, you saw a lot of MMOs that encouraged player interactions, not just for dungeons and raids. Not to run the auction house or marketplace, but you had to interact with other players in order to advance in some way. That was a very solid staple, and it retained players. The more of that type of thing you had, the more players wanted to be interactive. People aren't dumb. We've just dumbed down the games. That's the problem. We've dumbed down the games. It comes from like WoW syndrome, as I like to put it. They don't have to, it's not struggling though. You're missing that part. The WoW syndrome is every game must be playable by single player at all times. And that's fine. That's not an issue. People like that, it's good for players. But when you take a single player game, and this is self-evident with WoW and Final Fantasy, that's your best examples. You can also pull it out to Black Desert Online and any other story-driven, mostly single-player MMO. You don't have... Yeah, Halo's a good example too. But when you don't have the drive for players to interact with each other, they don't need each other. And if I don't need you, the only thing I need you for is dungeons and raids, I have no reason to be social with you. And that's a big part of it. I have a guild. Why do I have a guild? I have a guild for two reasons. Dungeons and raids. Genshin Impact is a single-player game that has multiplayer elements. Genshin Impact is like Borderlands. Like the Borderlands series. Where it's a single-player game that you can team up with other players. Versus being an MMO where you can go hang out with everybody in your guild and then go do raids or whatever. There are slightly different classifications of games there. Those types of games really aren't MMOs. You know what? I need to stay for a rest. Let everybody heal up a little bit. Welcome back, George. They're really not MMOs. They're single-player games with very large multiplayer bases. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and there's a lot of games in that category. Neverwinter's an example of that. Genshin Impact, the Borderlands series, Deep Rock Galactic Mining Company, whatever it is. Good game, by the way. Those games are all playable single player. They're all playable co-op. But you don't have to play with other people in order to enjoy the game. You're never forced to do it. MMOs require that you must play with other players for something. And the only thing anymore that you're required to work with other players on is dungeons and raids. Because you can't solo them usually. I say usually because there are times you can. If you go back to older games, they had more reasons to be social. And one of the reasons that was to be social was I couldn't do everything. Well, yeah. But Shana's a different story. Canadian Salt, how's it going? Leave Shana alone. Everybody kept complaining that Shana was never being seen and she wasn't being used enough, and she's a great character. We all know she's shit, but that's not the point. And whatnot. So she is, while we're doing our grind tonight, I put Shana in the party just as a garbage thing. So, in any case, welcome to the interesting chat. Yeah, if she had additions, she would. If she was like everybody else. If she had additions, if her Dragoon arrow had additions, she'd be fine. But she's just so weak. She's just so weak. Oh, look, a coffer. I have a spell. I have a heal spell. The only thing she adds is the ability to revive characters in her Dragoon form. It's the only thing she adds. And that's really not that useful. Resurrect. It revives dead characters and gives them 100% health. That's all it does. Ouch. But yeah, she has that. Later on, she gains a general heal spell for the whole party. I think that's her second one. And I think her last one is like a res all with 100% health or something like that. It's useful, but it's only useful if you had a party of like 4 or 5 people, not a party of 3. It's not useful for a party of 3. One. Ha ha ha. 3. Ha ha ha. 6. Ha ha ha. 9. Ha ha ha. Rose does have a heal. It's okay. Her heal is okay. it's not as good. Shana's heals are actually really, really solid. And like I said, if they remake this game, I'd love to see them remake this game. If they did, the only change I would ask is for Shana to get additions as herself, make her Dragoon like everybody else's Dragoons, where, she gets the multiple addition attack. And if they did that, I think she would be on par. Okay, so you gave me a 6, you said 6, 3, 1. Okay, that's a good place to start. We'll just start there. Doesn't open, haha. You missed. 1. Said 1, 6, 9. Ha ha ha, doesn't open. I'm not in, okay, not like I'm in carrying, healing, rain, breeze either. Yeah, exactly. I remember in some of the old game, the weak one at the start was supposed to sound really good at the end. Sometimes that's only true when they give them abilities comparable to everybody else's. And because she doesn't get additions, and she doesn't get the additional damage in her Dragoon, and she doesn't even do like max damage for her attack, as if you did like a perfect. She does only about half the damage that everybody else does. So it's one of those things that she's just mediocre bad in everything you do with her. It's horrible. It's just horrible. I don't think we've done this combination. Last number, let's go with 391. Oh well, I'm in combat. No additions mixed. Yeah, it's just, it's a thing. Remove Miranda. We haven't run to Miranda yet. I hate that chest. Well, we're here, more for the leveling experience than anything else, so that's really all we're here for. We're not really here for, the chest. But going back and forth and doing the chest, so getting the new code and coming back and trying to open the chest and then going back and getting the code and coming back, yeah, it takes some time, but the items out of the chest, if you can get it open, are actually kind of worth it. So love Maru character, I always end up using Dart, Russ, Albert. You end up using that combination because they're your highest levels. They're your highest level characters. So you end up using them all the time. That and the fact that they don't leave the party, unlike a lot of other characters do. They're almost always hanging around, and have been since the beginning of the game. I mean, Shana has too, but Come on, girl. Can't even take a hit. Yeah, I need the Dragoon. I need to follow the rails of Dragoons anyway. Albert also covers defense spells. Exactly. Albert's got his defense spell. And Rose has that light heal. So that plus the whole healing item thing, and you're usually okay as long as you're not way under leveled. Yeah, I probably should have flipped the special to trigger everybody's Dragoons. Well, yeah, but if you could move him out, there are some other good DPS that I wouldn't mind moving in. I mean, Haskell and Kongal are both really solid DPS, and I wouldn't mind them being in the party instead of Dart. They're telling me to use Kongal over Albert. Kongal's solid. Kongal's really good. Haskell's really good. I mean, there's a few fights that they're not so good in. And there's a few fights that, frankly, Dart's horrible. He's just horrible to use in some fights. But because you can't take him out of the party, that's the other thing I'd change. Is being able to take him out of the party, except when he has to be there. So, like, you know, there's always that case where you have to be in the party for a boss fight or whatever. And that's fine, I get that. I'm okay with that. But it would be really nice if you could take him out, you know, when you're not going into a boss fight. Exactly. Because that one time when you have to have Haskell in the party, you have to have Maroon in the party, and they get around that by doing that force swap. Alright, so yeah, let's just do this. Now that everybody's up to par. When I'm paying attention, I can hit the additions most days. The only one that gives me fits is the Dragoon editions. You know, sometimes I just cannot land it. But see, she only does 110. She's so useless. She doesn't do much more damage than her regular attack. So horrible. So horrible. Bam! Fire attack. Shana gets wasted. Dragoon is one of the only RPGs at the time when the leader isn't gone randomly for a chapter or two. Not really. The most RPGs and JRPGs in general that are team-based, there's like one character that's the quote-unquote leader that is almost always in the party or a core character. But okay, let's do a bet to get Shana out, but you have to agree. It depends on the game. Some of the games, yeah, the main character will go wander off by themselves for a short period, and you have to live without them. But most of them now, most of them, once people are in the party, they stay there except for short spells. It's a very common thing. You like these little short time periods that you have different characters in the party. But at least in other games, you can swap out all your characters all the time. And you can't just rely on, you know, one poor character. If you can land a Dragoon tech level 5 with Dart, you can replace her. If not, she has to stay. Dragoon never loses, anyone just swaps. Well, the biggest problem with Dragoon is the fact that you can't swap out Dart. You're stuck with Dart. Like right now, I'd rather not have Dart in the party. It's just, I'd rather have other characters in the party. Let them level up. You know, do some grinding. But, you know, because, you know, he's the highest level character you have. I just lost Shana. Alright, now I gotta go resurrect her butt. I mean, at least she's got a cute butt, but still. That's an argument we have, as whether or not who's the cutest of the characters. We go back and forth whether it's Shana, Rose, Maru. It's just a thing. She's resting. She's just tired. She's just tired. Rose 101%. And go ahead and check it up. Let her pop her Dragoon. Because we still need to level hers up. So who's 102%? There's your 100%. Too bad it's on the wrong character. I know, it's on the wrong character. She's having beauty rest. And Dirt still can't kill these things in one round. I swear. I swear. Whatever, I'll go revive her. Can't not have her leveling up here. Did he go level 4? No, he's not level 4 yet. We're not level 4 yet. We're trying to get there. We're not quite there yet. I do love that the Dragoon mode can be a risk versus reward since the item access loss. Yeah, there is that too. I mean, you have to guarantee you do not need items for, 1 to 5 rounds. Oh, I know. Level 1 attack to level 5 auto can attack it. We are... There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Level 1 attack, level 5 auto can attack head. Yeah. I've got to figure out what you're rambling about here. Remember special dragooning at party versus the wand and crying as a kid. You get it perfect, you can... No, the deal is it's gotta be on dark. I already got one on Rose today. Oops, that was bad. The boyfriend has to make the ultimate sacrifice of letting her go. Actually, what I need to do is I need to fix her. Yeah, Start has to release her. He won't admit it, but he is. Okay. I don't think I've ever missed with the Dragoon attack before. I think that's new. I've never done that before. I don't think I've ever done that before. Now I need to swap an item over to Shana real quick. As a child, I abused the 5 MP blue birds with the Sig Stone. Yeah, I'm well, yeah, there's that. Yeah, there's a lot of, really good. Not replace. Not quite. Oh, how's more and more doing? Not quite there either. Getting there. Armor. I need. Sure. Yes. That's what I need. The hat incoming. The hat incoming. Poor birds. Call Peter. Yeah, okay, yeah. We're having dinner tonight, and it's called chicken? Little blue chickens? Yeah, that's what it is. It's little blue chickens. We'll have the little blue chickens tonight. What's wrong with the little blue chickens? There we go. That was solid. That was solid. Okay, he used a heal item. That's kind of unusual. Doesn't really matter. He's gonna die. Oh, oh, oh! I get to waste this special on Shana. She gets to go all out. I'm trying on my Xbox. I'm typing on my Xbox so it's slow and error-ridden. Now that's fine. A lot of people watch Twitch on their Xbox or PlayStation or on their phone or whatever. It's all good. Oh, good. Let's see now. Yeah. See, he's on his phone. Shelly is a gift. Yes. She's a picture. Oh, look, I got toasted. The one guy, see, he should be immune to fire when he's Dragooned up. He should. There's no reason Dart should take any fire damage when he's Dragooned up. It said that we never got our prequel. We never gotten anything. I mean, it's just, we didn't get a prequel. We didn't get a sequel. It could have been, I mean, they could have done the sequels the way they did it in like the Lunar series, where there was hundreds or thousands of years between each game. So what happens in one game has no bearing on what happens in other games. And that would have been perfectly fine. It would have been great. But what do we get? Nada. Just crickets in the wind from this game. However, with all of the games that are getting remakes, right now, I do hope that this one gets greenlit for a remake. Or a remaster, at least. Thing is, though, the graphics really aren't that far out of what we would consider normal now. There has been talk of them remaking Legend of Dragoon since the PlayStation 3 came out. But that's all they ever do is occasionally talk about it, and the only answer you're ever going to get out of them is, we're thinking about it, we'll consider it, maybe. That's it. That's all we get. We haven't gotten anything aside from that that's more concrete than we'll think about it if we feel like it. But all they ever say is, we'll consider it. It's like, if we have time, we'll consider doing it. And it's like, really? They had time to do everybody else. Like, as an example, Square Enix has had time to remake and remaster every Final Fantasy game. between 1 and 5 times. done a remake or remaster of every Final Fantasy game that was not released on the PlayStation 4 initially. It's stupid. No, they have rights. There's a difference. It's not that they have the resources. They have the rights. And the problem with Legend of Dragoon, and the reason it will never get a remake, is because the rights are split between different companies. Sony owns part of the rights, but they don't own exclusive rights. And because no one owns exclusive rights to Legend of Dragoon, the game can never get a remake. And that's the biggest problem with it. You gotta own the rights in order to make it. That's why Square Enix can remake all of their games. We have the Dragon Quest series. They're seriously talking about doing remakes on those, as well as adding new games. The Final Fantasy series gets remakes all the time. But there's the catch. You can always say, well, if I throw enough money at the problem, it goes away. But it really doesn't. Because where was I going with that? Okay, now I've lost track where I was going. Rights. There are some games that they cannot remake at all. It's gonna be... Oh, I'm glad I decided to throw when I did. No one business it's willing to make. Well, when it comes to rights, it depends on who owns them and how stubborn they are. As an example, this one is bad because of... No, that's a completely different conversation. The only reason Final Fantasy VII was on 4 discs initially is because of the movies. And then they cut out a bunch of content, which basically gave us a really bad game. And threw in some new content at the end of the game, saying, oh, here you go, have some fun. No, Final Fantasy VII, don't get there. Yeah, there's too much politics and issues behind 7, and you can't really compare 7 to other games. Because there's a lot of reasons why they did what they did with 7. So you gotta kind of carve 7 out and put it to the side. You really have to do that. But this game, the reason it didn't do well had more to do with Sony not marketing it well, and had to do with the fact that the PlayStation was already starting to wane in favor of the next thing when Legend of Dragoon came out. Legend of Dragoon looks really fantastic because it was the end of the PlayStation 1 cycle. Problem is, it was at the end of the cycle. People were already saving money and gearing up for the next gen console. They were waiting on the PlayStation 2. So, because of that, we didn't get a high reception for the game because people were kind of holding off for the PlayStation 2. they also had the competition from the other games on the other consoles that were on the market that was doing really well. So when you get to the end of a cycle, people tend to want to change platforms. It's like right now, when we're getting towards the end of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One cycle, you had a lot of people going out and buying the other. So people who were PlayStation owners were buying Xboxes for the first time, or vice versa, because they wanted new, fresh games while they waited that last year or a year and a half for the new consoles to hit. I can see that being a major factor. It is. It's a huge factor. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why Legend of Dragoon didn't do as well as it should have. It was a huge thing. But the biggest problem that it had was the fact that only Sony owns part of the rights. I mean, if you really wanted to push it, and if you owned a successful company, you probably could negotiate with, let's go with 7. Sony or whoever, and whoever else owns the rights, and actually get the game, greenlit. I think it might be possible, but I don't think it would be an easy thing to do because of the whole licensing problem. People used to argue with me it failed because of sound design. There's never with sound design? Oh no. No, the game's solid. The visuals were solid for the time. The audio is fantastic. The few videos we have are really good. And it's just there's no real issues with the game. It's not. They won't even. It's not. They won't even put it on the store because they don't have the rights. It comes down to the rights. The only thing that it's not on the PlayStation Now store. They just really want a boner, don't they? Okay, I just realized what I just said. I see a clip coming in my future. And not Betty. Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness! She can't catch a break! She's as bad as, Albert over there. She's just playing Bone Magnet. See what I mean? She's the Bone Magnet. I'm sad we never get official's word on Haskell and Dark's connection. Well, when you've you've got this many characters, it's really, hard. It's a really hard thing to get everybody's backstory in and keep it all clean and cohesive and everything else. Yeah, it's a huge thing. It's really hard. Yeah, they hint at, that Dart's mom might be his daughter. Quite hard, really. And yet we never get confirmation or denial of that fact. Personally, I think it would be really great. Would have been a great tie-in for it to be confirmed at some point. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it would have been a really fantastic tie-in for them to close that loop and give us at least a yes he is or no he isn't, Haskell's grandson. Even as like an epilogue piece, you know what I mean? Also would mean Rose has mummy. Is that really that much of a loss? I mean, really? I don't see how that much of a loss. I don't have a problem with that. Might matter to Dart. You know what? Dart doesn't matter. Almost. Alright, how's Rose doing? She's almost done too. Just a few more in both of them. Have we ever heard of... Ever heard of... Yeah, no kidding. It's a... Who cares about what Dart's feelings are? As long as it wouldn't make, like, Dart and Shana related. We're cool. Daddy Lloyd, though. That could be problematic. That would definitely be problematic. That doesn't mean they're not related. Go back to Alabama. Go back to Alabama and Georgia, and you can find a whole lot of related people that aren't stupid, and a whole lot of related people that are stupid. So it's definitely a thing. And we know only one stupid child comes out of the family. No. That's not true. We know more than one stupid child can come out of a family. Trust me. Trust me. It happens. I've seen it. Both in games and out. I just like that there is a decent amount of side content you find. Yeah, I like the game. I like the amount of side content. Some of it's forced, some of it's not. It all makes sense and it's very stable. Yeah, you can ask Lafer. I made made it well known at the beginning of this campaign that I was not doing 100%. So I wasn't gonna go after like, oh, what is it, 50 Stardust or whatever it is. I wasn't gonna make that my migraine mission to make sure I got every piece of Stardust. I wasn't doing that. I'm not doing like all the super powered, high-end end game side bosses and stuff like that. She already missed her 5. Okay. Yes, it did. I've missed a bunch. So, yeah, like I said, I made it well known back in episode 1 that I was not planning to do 100%. So, just like I have I'm playing Spyro on Friday nights, and I've made it well known that I am not 100%ing Spyro either. So I got a better chance of doing that because it's relatively easy to do. But I'm not going for 100% in the games that I play. Mainly because I find that it requires a lot more concentration to do that. And I usually have to look at guides and whatnot, and I'm going for platinum personal thing, that's one thing, but on a stream, it's not as interesting as far as I'm concerned. Sword is good and bad from that guy. Yeah, I didn't want to do that, I wanted her to heal. Oh well. I wanted her to block. Missed them. Oh well. We'll get through it. Never mind, Shana died again. We died. Child had me beat TLOD with no memory card. TLOD? I'm drawing a blank. Which game is that? I'm sure somebody's gonna be yelling at me. Oh, it's whatever. Oh, this game. Okay. How? With no memory card? Game's so long. I mean, some of these games are, I mean, even like the Spyro games, some of them are pretty short, like, what, 10 hours or whatever, if you really know your stuff, but, yeah, that's tough. Yeah, exactly. You're talking about having a computer on for, days or weeks, depending on what kind of time you have to play a game. I mean, the only time, honestly, I can think of that I had to play a game that way was on a Commodore 64. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but back during the Commodore era, you had a company called SSI, and they did a lot of Dungeons and Dragons games called Gold Boxes. And the first game in that series is called Pool of Radiance. And on the Commodore 64, there's one fight in that game that takes somewhere around 7 or 8 hours because there's just so much in the fight. There's so many people, there's so much going on, there's so many actions that have to be made during the combat that it takes hours, and that's even with using like Fireball to whittle down the opponents. It's horrible. That was like one fight. It started the fight at like going into dinner. And on the way to bed, you check on it, make sure it was still running. In the morning, you get up, you turn the monitor on just to make sure, to see if it's done yet. And sometimes it was done, sometimes it was still running. And you had to pray it didn't crash overnight. Later games in the series, they added an auto attack feature. So you didn't have to like rubber band a couple of coins to your joystick controller button to keep the button pressed to tell it to auto attack. And you could also change the speed of the gameplay, so it would skip frames and whatnot to make combat go faster. Now you can do that whole fight in like 15 minutes. As long as you understand how to do the fight. You can do the whole fight in like 15 minutes. But it's one of those main fights that you have to do at some point in the game in order to progress the main story. It's horrible. Well, that and the fact that the game's been cleaned up too. So you figure you can go to GOG and you can go to Steam, and you can download Forgotten Realms Pack 1, which includes the whole Pool of Radiance line. Ow! That's a problem. Anyway, that tells the whole, all the games in that campaign set, which is 4 or 5 games, I think it is, in that campaign set. And there's been tons of bug fixes that they put into the game. There's been lots of optimizations they've put into the games so that Shana dies faster. So that it doesn't have a lot of those speed problems. They've added in some more of the nice to have features from the later games. Almost. This is just barely. So they made it to where it was actually really good. And it's solid. Dude, at this point, I'm not even worried about it. whole thing got choose? I mean, honestly, we've been sitting here for an hour and we've only gained one level. And we really need at least one more level before we get to the water area. And Dart and Rose. To be fair, you know. Let's make it till next week. Now you only get to stare at Shana today. You can stare at her butt all day today you want. And that's it. Cause next week she is not gonna be in the party. I gotta put a different booty in that spot. Whether I'm still leveling next week, or we're actually making content and making progress. A different booty is going in that spot. It might even be a chicky booty. I don't know yet. Yeah, we'll at least get to the water zone next week. Maybe get off the disc? Maybe. Maybe. But the only reason I'm having to do so much grinding right now is because we didn't do any grinding at the end of Disc 1. So we didn't have that buffer. You have the city, then water cave, then return to the castle, and that's the end of the disc, yeah. That sounds right. Oh, yes, they gotta kiss at some point. Like I said, they gotta date, they gotta get married, they gotta have fat babies. At some point. Though I think it'd be funnier as if Dar just ditched her and did the, I'm gonna go marry Maru. See, now it'd be funnier is if Albert married one princess, kill him. He don't matter. He don't count. Just kill him off. They don't count. And like somebody else, like Dart, marries the other princess. See, that would be comical to me. Dart, you know, throws off. I'm not gonna marry Shana. I'm gonna go marry the princess instead. And Albert marries the other one. See, that'd be funny to me. It'd be a wonderful little April Fool's joke. She doesn't have to be married. We can remove the husband. Throw him off a cliff or something. That works. Let Congo eat him. We can let Congo eat the husband. And then Congo can marry her. So Congo gets to eat you, and then he gets to marry Maru. I can't see a downside here. Except I lose my one viewer. Yeah, that'd be a downside. Never mind. Never mind. I can't lose, like, the only person who shows up religiously. So, Yeah, that's a thing. I have to take that into consideration, so. I don't know, I don't expect everybody to show up every week. You got real life stuff, you got spring break, whatever. Go, have fun. Ooh, airport. We have Star Children! I have no clue what that does. I ain't got a snot's clue. I think Star Children's the one that heals everybody. I ain't got a snot's clue. We'll have to check it out. Oh, well, have fun taking it to the airport. Far more important than being here. Make her take a cab. Ugh. That's painful. That's painful. Run away. Dragoon it up. 3-hour drive one way. Ouch! That'd be an expensive cab. That'd be an expensive cab. That'd be an expensive cab. 3-hour drive. Good God. I don't think I've ever lived 3 hours from an airport. I don't think I have. I've always lived within like an hour or so of a major airport. Alright, let's kick this off. Let's see what this new spell is. So she has a new spell. She's level 2. Star Children. Light, strength, 25% on all. So she's got a damaging arrow. I don't, it's just she has no layover. Yeah, but you drop the layover, but you got a 3-hour drive, you might as well have a 3-hour layover. It's the same thing. That's a decent AoE. I'm not arguing that, but the 6-hour round trip with gas prices the way they are now, I don't know if the ticket really balances out. I'm just saying. It's a thing. I mean, it doesn't bother me any. You know. I used to. It's funny because people where I work now, my day job, because you know I can't do this enough hours a day to do that. But my day job, they're like, I hate driving half an hour or 45 minutes to work. And then there's like one guy's like, I drive an hour and 15 minutes. It sucks. I hate driving an hour and 15 minutes. But I ain't moving closer to the office. But I still hate driving it. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? You people are complaining that you have an hour, 30 to 45 minutes to an hour drive to go to work every day. And I'm like, I used to drive an hour and a half one way to my office and back. And then when I got home from work, I drive to my significant other's house for like dinner or something, and that was like 45 minutes away, or an hour away from where I lived at the time. And it's like, and you people are complaining about, it's like, what are you complaining about? I got a 45-minute drive just to go have dinner. After driving an hour home from work. So it's like, yeah, it's a thing. They don't get it. They just don't have any intelligence or understanding of what real driving is like. It's like, there's times you just don't care. It's weird, but it's true. She needs to rest. Dora can take this bugger out. He can Dragoon it up and take out this dude. Let's spice things up a little bit. Let's see. Let's do that. Yeah, people just sometimes don't quite understand how complicated life can be. They forget. Wow, I actually one-shot him. I was not expecting that. That was a little OP. I'm okay with that. But Dora can do this. And everybody else can heal. Oh well. Look at that. That's a second Dragoon attack miss. I'm gonna have to go back to this video and clip both of those out. Just so I can say it didn't happen once, it happened twice. Because we're all weirdos. Nope, rest. Da, 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 da. Well, we know Dart's slow. I mean, come on. Shana keeps trying to date him all through disc 1 and disc 2, and she still can't get him to catch on that she's trying to get a date out of him. Even when they're on a date. Let's be realistic. The two of them went on a date and he didn't quite grasp that they were on a date. Let's be fair. Then all of a sudden we can't hit. Did we get like an accuracy debuff or something that I don't know about? Is that a thing? I'm not even sure. She would be naked and she's still... I don't... That's going a little too far. Oh, Rose leveled up. gotta go check on Rose. Hold on. Yeah, she made Dragoon level 4. Okie dokie. She did make Dragoon level 4. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought she made Dragoon level 4. They should probably take her out of the party now. Let somebody else level up their Dragoon. Mario doesn't have her Dragoon. And her level's already pretty set. I mean, she doesn't have her additions leveled up. But her level's already pretty decent. So, I mean, I could do that. Because you need to level up her additions. But I wanted to get her more and more finished. Though at the rate she's dying, she's doing no better than Shana is at the moment. That's an issue. There it goes. So we need to finish her more and more. Not like that, we're not. Alright. And he's almost done with Burning Rush. So that's a good thing. Oh my goodness. That was so horrible. Kill one of these things off. Bloody buggers. Wow, we're just having all kinds of issues in this fight. I mean, it's not time to say goodbye yet. We still have 30 minutes, but apparently this fight just does not want us to, hang out. It's okay. It's okay. We'll get there. There it goes. Beautiful. Now we just need to check to see what... the additions look like. Additions. So Burning Rush is maxed, so he needs to go on to Crash Dance, which is a +4 add. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. And more is not done. She said it's 5 more. It's horrible. Still need 5 more. Alright, let's grab our next code. 2, 3, ha ha. 3, ha ha ha. 6, ha ha ha. Okay. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll put some numbers in. Let's notice it in a minute. Oh, we're getting boned again. Shana's getting boned again. Yes. Oh, well, that's problematic. I didn't realize she was out of magic. I thought she still had some magic on her. Oopsie. I thought she still had magic. She didn't. Oh well. Okie dokie. I should have used his magic. He still had enough magic to do one more spell. That would have been a good idea, but oh well. Oh well. Oh well. Shana can use her and just keep on going Dragoony. Sure, why not? I mean, it doesn't take very many uses in order to get up to level 2. Honestly, I think I'd get there faster if I used Dragoon more often. But since I tend to just forget about it. I do, I tend to forget that the Dragoon even exists. Until everybody's got like max Dragoon bars. I'm like, oh, I guess I should use my Dragoon stats, shouldn't I? Would be a good idea. But it's true, though. It's like, I'd forget to do the thing and beat him up with the Dragoon, and it's like, oh, what am I doing wrong? And then I go and miss a perfects 3 times in a row. You know, it's normal day. Just a normal day in Legend of Dragoon. Just a normal day. However, it was nice to see a bunch of people in chat today. Because we had, what? Some of you in chat today. That was nice. It's always nice to have more people in chat. I missed! I hit the button, I had the timing off. Yeah, and one day I'll make it to 50 followers. One day. We'll make 50 followers at some point. There we go. And by that point, we'll probably have, 3 or 4 people regularly talking in chat. Alright, so let's check. So we need 5 more mores. That's fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that while we're before we move on to a different character. I want to finish her more and mores. Shana gets boned again. These Skelly boys really like Shana, don't they? That was beautiful. See, you said it. You said it. You like Shana. You want to bone Shana. That's all there is to it. Oh, I missed that. I missed that. That was beautiful. But I missed. That's gonna be a tough one to hit. That 5 additions. Have you seen me play this game? Have you watched me play this game? Me and additions do not get along. It's part of why it takes me so long to play this game. I'm horrible at it. But that's okay. It makes it entertaining. Because I need to laugh my own stupidity. So, what I didn't get to see, nah, I just got the same one. Demon's Gate, Dimension Astral, okay. Oh, what? I just let her eat a Dragoon. It's good. It's all good. What's she doing? Yeah, she has 3 more mores. What? I mean, she has 3 more mores, that's true. Oh, what message? Three more. Yeah. Yeah, we need 3 more. There's 1. Shana needs to heal, because, you know, she can't take a hit. But yeah, I mean, her healing ability is fantastic. Her, that light arrow that she has, that AoE light arrow, does good damage. Her only problem is the fact that she doesn't have, she doesn't have the capacity of additions. So she doesn't get that extra damage boost like everybody else does. She just gets like 70% of her max damage, and that's it. That's 3 misses with Dragoon attacks. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Well, her defense is really bad because she's so low level, too. Missed. You gotta keep that in mind. She's what? 17 now? She's not even on level with everybody else. And that had a lot to do with that. And honestly, it has more to do with the fact that she's under-leveled than anything else. Come on, Rose. There's our more and more. Even more. What are you talking about? I already did it. I gave you your perfect on dart. What more could you want? Yeah, but what's the fun in that? We've kind of suffered through with her up to this point. I mean, I did not want to do that. Does she even have... She's got magic, okay. So does she even have magic? Did you check out the title of this stream? What's this stream titled? I like all the girls in this game. They all have great personalities. They're all attractive in their own ways. Dart, told your tongue. Shana, go ahead and heal yourself. Do something Dragoony. Change it to tone bone. Well, you know, when I post this onto YouTube, I might just do that. Yeah, or better yet, you know, you can always see like a boner for Shana. Yeah. I'd say it'd probably get me demonetized, but I'm not monetized as it is, so it doesn't matter. Oh, come on, it'd be funny. It'd be funny. Alright, so our count is right. More and more is done. Yay! Hard blade. Good. Now, we can replace Rose. But see, Maru doesn't have a Dragoon. But she is level 19. And we know we're going to need her later on, so... We do that. We do know that. I know she will. That fairy light hit me, didn't it? That fairy light is what whacked me. Okay. See, there it is. If it's a bone, it's going to Shana. All the Skelly guys like the bone Shana. We are well aware of the Skelly guys need to bone Shana. We are very aware of this. We are well aware. We are well aware that they like doing this. But hey. See? There it goes again. I swear, every bone goes to Shana. They won't even go after Maru, and she's... Argue they got a bigger bow. Missed. Could you imagine trying to swing that big old mallet with that big old bow in your butt? I mean, the massive hairball she's got would be bad enough. That big old mallet, that big old bow? I don't know about that. Have you ever tried to dance in a ballroom gown? Let's just say it's not easy. So that big old bow on her butt? Not so easy to dance in. I will say that. It does not make it easy for her to dance. Just because you're a guy doesn't mean you can't go dancing in a ballroom gown. There's nothing wrong with it. Just grab your heels, grab your ballroom gown, and go dancing. It's not as bad as people want to make it out to be. That's one of the things that I honestly have to say we have a problem with. And it's not just in like American society, it's just in general. We've lost what little culture we had. We ain't got much to begin with. Never really had much in this country to begin with. But we don't really have any culture anymore. All we have is prejudice and hate. And it's really sad. And greed. God's greed. That's greed. Missed. I don't have to be a dancer. Ballroom gown? You only need to know 4 moves. Forward, back, left, and right. Keep your distance from your partner and call it a die. That's it. It's not hard. However, the biggest question I have is, where does Maru put her mallet when she's done for the day? Where does she hide it? That's okay, so Rose is done for the moment. The magic pocket. I think she hides it under the bow. That big old bow that she's got, I think she hides it in the bow. I think that's where she puts it. Same place Shana and Rose use. I don't know about Rose, but Shana just probably hands Dart her bow and says, "Here, hold this." And when they get into a fight, then she says, "Oh, give me my bow back." I mean, honestly, that's what I think. That's what I think she does. The magic back pocket. Yeah. Missed. I missed. Give me a Dragoon. Because I really want to get his Dragoon up. And besides, he's got magic at the moment, so we can just one-shot that little bugger and call it a day. What was I watching the other day? Was it Strongest Mage, Weakest Crest? I think it was the Strongest Mage with the Weakest Crest. And it was either that or it was, I think that's what it was anyway. They walk into an adventurer guild and they ask, like, "So, what do you got to turn in?" And he's like, "Well, my inventory's kind of full." "Oh, what do you got?" And he drops in like this dragon head and says, "How much do we get for this?" And they just all panics. What the hell are you dropping that in the middle of the guild hall for? You asked what that had to turn in. Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, she's awesome. I like her. I like when he gives her the spear. And he tells her, he's like, "Okay, now, because you're so strong, we made it dull. So it doesn't do as much damage. So it does less damage than you're capable of doing." Yeah, and she traps all the time. It's horrible. It's terrible. I love it. Alright, go ahead and just do that. Use your Dragoon up. Yeah, it's, I like that show. That show's good. I mean, it's got a little bit of a perverted run to it, but that's okay. It's not as bad as some shows. Like, How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. That one's perversion is horrible. Seki Cheat Magician? Not yet. I haven't watched that one yet. I only get about, between work and the video editing and whatnot, I get, Shana's about to level! I only get somewhere around, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 hours a week that I can actually watch like TV and movies or whatever. I really don't get that much time. Because I got so much other stuff going on. I mean, I'm like super active on Twitter and whatnot too, but I can do that regardless of wherever I am. But I can't do it as often when I'm just like hanging out. Ah! The girls are gonna die! Can't let Maru die. She's too cute. She's too cute to die. Diablos, it's lucky with the 2. And the girl gets Demon Lord girl who loves biscuits. Okay. I think one of the ones that I like that's like really solid is Overlord. I liked watching Overlord. That was really good. That's a lot of that show's a lot of fun to watch. When season 3 came out not that long ago, I went through and I found the time to rewatch like seasons 1 and 2. Because it was just so good. What? Season 3? Season 3's already out. What, for what? Season 3 or season 4? Season 3's good. Oh yeah, season 4? Yeah, that's coming up soon. The other one that's coming up soon is, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. That's good too. That's my jam. I like Grimmerrow. Can't go wrong with the slime. And that one's coming up soon too, in a couple of months. So, I'm looking forward to those. There are several that I wish would get follow-up seasons that never will. Like Gate to Another World. That is never going to get a follow-on, I don't think. And it's such a shame because it was so good. I got enough health. There was the Guy Crimson. Guy's good. I like Guy. Guy's fun. I really like Millum. He's probably my favorite of the Demon Lords. Welcome to Demon School, Aruma. I watched, I think, the first 1 or 2 episodes of that and couldn't get into it. I couldn't really get into that one. It looked good, I just couldn't get into it. Of course, it may have just been, like, the time I watched it, I just wasn't really interested in it. Because I found that happens with like TV shows or movies or anime or whatever. Is that if I'm just not into that for the moment, I just... Because I watch a lot of anime on Crunchyroll, so it's just subtitled instead of dubbed. And because of that, if I'm tired or whatever, sometimes I just don't get into whatever show it is. So, it's a thing. Yeah, Crunchy's like the best thing. Shana leveled up, 17! Yay! Only 15 more fights and she'll be 18. Maru needs a couple more fights and she's 20. I need to check something real quick. Check the health pools. We're low on mana, but we really don't use mana anyway, except for the occasional heal. This is the best spot, by the way. Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone didn't look that interesting to me. I looked at some of the previews on it, and it just didn't look that interesting. Now, Restaurant in Another World, that one was okay for season 1. I haven't looked at any of the follow-on seasons from that, and that was pretty good. Though I think of the modern short anime, so the ones that only have like a couple of seasons. Which one? Restaurant in Another World? Or, yeah, that one's pretty good. For a second, I thought, okay, let's not have Shana get boned to death. You have Restaurant in Another World, Pharmacy in Another World, and I think there's 3 of them in that line. By the same author in the same universe. The premise is real simple. During the day, the restaurant's in like our world, and at night, in the evenings, the restaurant door to our world seals, and the back door unseals, and it's in like this fantasy elves, fairies, whatever world, and they come in for the second shift. You got your time limit? I'll survive. Yeah, like I said, it was pretty good. I think that, like I said, I think Restaurant in Another World has 2 seasons now. And I think it was Pharmacy to Another World. Is a follow-on side show. But yeah, it was pretty good. But of shows that I wish they'd get more content. Definitely Gate to Another World. That could really have used a second or third season, because that was solid. But unfortunately, that was from like 2015, I think it was, and we'll never get a second season out of that. the authors already confirmed we're not getting any more anime out of it. I think the mangas are still going, but he said that we're not getting any anime out of it, which is a shame. The other one was really good, and I could just watch for, over and over again, is Gargantia. That is a fantastic series. Moonlight Fantasy. I haven't checked out that one yet. What's another one that's really good? Ship Operators. Have you heard of Ship Operators? That one is like hard sci-fi. It's hard sci-fi war. It's really good. Tsukamichi Moonlight Fantasy. It's fun. It has a dragon. Okay. Take your word for it. But yeah, Ship Operators was really good. What else is really good? Let's see. Gargantia is fantastic. Ship Operators is really good. Without looking at my hard drive. Strike Witches was fun. I like Strike Witches. And there's 2 seasons of that in the movie. That was really good too. Alternate World War II era anime. What else is really good? That's kind of like off the beaten path. I'm trying to think, what's off? What do I watch on a fairly regular basis, like off the beaten path here? That one I'm hoping it's a second season. That was really good too. Yeah, Wiseman's Grandchild, that was good too. Now I gotta look something up, because I'm trying to remember what the name of this one is. And it's one I actually have copies of. Let's see here. That's not on the beaten path. Oh, Kitty Grade. That's an older one. That one's fantastic. I like Kitty Grade. Kitty Grade's really good. Starship Operator, Strike Witches. Vandred was weird. But that was pretty good too. But I have like old school stuff. And you can find it. Those who hunt elves is phenomenally funny. It's back from the 90s. And that one is absolutely hysterical. I still need to get, I have a digital copy of that set, but I need to get a full DVD set. I got a partial. I haven't gotten around to buying a full set. I need to, though. Because that's just really good. What's another one that's old school? Send me a message on Twitter. We can socialize there about that. Because I don't talk money on stream, so we can discuss that over on Twitter if you want. I have no issue. Send me a private message. That's a good one. Rama 1/2. I know that was kind of a little cliche, a little more popular, but that show is phenomenal. I love Rama 1/2. You can't tell me there's a problem with Rama 1/2. Come on. Those Elves collection, yeah, that's a hard collection to get nowadays, because it's out of print. Just like Rama 1/2, it's out of print too. If I come across a full collection of Rama 1/2, I'm gonna pick it up. I've been thinking about picking up the video games because they're on the Super Nintendo. I think I'll pick up the cartridges for that, because they look a lot of fun too. Wow, what? Oops, that was bad. I thought that was Rama 1/2 video games? Or the fact that I'm still hanging out in stream? Oh yeah! Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 games? I mean, it's on the Super Famicom, but yeah. Yeah, the fantastic games. Yeah, I was poking at them on emulation a while back. The only reason I don't have them is because they're kind of expensive. They're around $100 a cart. So, it's a bit pricey. But what little I played of them was pretty fun. Most shops that I have nearby don't do a lot of import. So, yeah, I mean, I got two. I got two that I can go to fairly regularly. One that's more of like a thrift store than a game store, and most of what they get's domestic. They don't get very much non-domestic stuff, and most of what they get's like the most popular stuff. So they really don't get a lot of good titles usually. But I go in there about once a month, and the guy keeps an eye out for the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. Oh, that was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And there's another shop nearby. They're actually in a mall. They're more like a GameStop type store. in the way they're set up. But they do exclusively retro games. And they're pretty good. They actually do get some imports occasionally, and they get some of the rarer games every once in a while. The only problem I have with that store is they tend to be a little overpriced. They price their stuff in the mid-upper range. So like if the average for a game is say $60 and the max average for the game is say 100 in that range, they'll price it like 70 versus pricing it at the lower end in the 60. But overall they're good. I mean, they get a good selection very regularly of a lot of stuff. That's where most of my stuff comes in. I get a lot of stuff from them. Yeah, they do. I have a PlayStation 2, 3, 4, a Retron 5, a Saturn, a PSP, a Vita, a Nintendo Game Boy, DS, 3DS, and a Switch. So, oh, and I got a 360. I do have an Xbox 360, though I haven't powered that thing on in a while. I really need to do that one of these days. Because it's been a while since I've powered on my 360. I have an R2D2 Xbox 360. No dissing the Xbox 360. You can diss the games that you like, but don't diss my R2D2. I like my R2D2. My R2D2 is so custom in the way they designed it that it makes R2D2 sounds when you hit the power button to turn on and off. I'm not joking. You hit the power button to turn it on and off, and it makes R2D2 sounds at you. It was a phase. I had a PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 were both out. I really didn't have anything on either system that I wanted that was exclusives. So I figured, I'll try out the 360. I wanted it more for the Kinect. I was looking for a nice way to get, some exercise in. And it was fun for that. That was fantastic. But that was the only thing I found that was actually good for. Most of the games on it, I didn't care for the way they played. So. I get that. No, the 360 wasn't a bad system. I actually kind of liked the 360. To be honest, I like the system itself. I can understand that too. But I've been much happier. I was much happier with my PS3. Though my PS3 could use a different hard drive. Its hard drives get a little flaky. But yeah, I was very happy with the 360. Just like the PS3, I was very happy with the PS3 too. But I'm playing this on the PS3. you know? The people who got the... Okay. Red Ring of Death comes from two main problems. One, people who decided to stick their Xboxes in a corner with zero ventilation when it tells you it requires significant ventilation. That's one. Two, people who play 24 hours a day will also have the same problem with the Red Ring of Death. The PlayStations have the same problem. If you run them 24 hours a day, you know, from that era, you had the same problem. And to my understanding, if you do the same thing with the PS4 or PS5 or the Xbox One or the Series X, the Series line, you have the same problem. If you sit there and run them 24 hours a day and don't actually let them cool down properly, they're going to overheat and they're going to melt something. And they're going to fail. It's a shame, but that's what causes it. It's overheating. And most people get that from not ventilating their system properly. Oh, I always do too. My current setup is inside of a 22 RU rack. And that's got a couple of shelves put on it. And it's got my PC, my PS4, my PS3, my PS2, my Retron. All that's in there. My other consoles kind of like around the house in other rooms. And I clean my systems regularly. Make sure they don't collect dust or hair or whatever. But, yeah. You have to keep them clean. You have to keep them well ventilated. If I'm running my PS4 for long periods of time, I have an auxiliary cooler that I turn on for it. When I'm streaming with it, like I was doing like a real long stream, I turn the auxiliary cooler on the PS4. But I don't do that very often anymore. I've learned to keep my streams to about 2 or 3 hours max. But in any case, it's been fun. We took Shana on our date, and she gained a level. A whole level. She was like just 16 when we started, and she gained a whole level. Next week, I'll probably swap Rose back in and head for the boss and see how that works out. But yeah, it's a thing. So I will catch you next week if you're available. If not, I'll catch you the following week. I am thinking about streaming tomorrow night because it's spring break here. So if you're around, yay. So I might do that tomorrow night. Because I go to work a little. I don't have to work as early next week. So I might stream tomorrow night. But as always, keep an eye on my Twitter if you're hanging out over there, and I will announce it beforehand or when I go out. So, thank you for visiting. Have a good night, everybody, and I will catch you next time.